Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And if you're already done all of that, thank you so much for your support. It really means a lot. So what are we doing this morning? We're doing something that I have watched for years. Other people do, and have always thought, wouldn't it be good to do something like that as well? So what are we doing today? As you've seen from the intro, the separate intro done as a prequel to this, but as you've seen from the intro, I am, and you're traveling with me, traveling to Canberra this morning. So we're flying out of Melbourne. As you can see in the window behind me, it's still dark outside, so it's currently about 6:30 in the morning. I have an 8:45 flight to Canberra, scheduled to land in Canberra about 9:50 in the morning, and then the seller is going to meet me at the airport, and we're going to go over to his place and see the car for the first time in person. So as you know by now, I'm traveling to Canberra to pick up a 1994 Peugeot 306 S16. One of only about 300 that has ever been imported to Australia. I had a look through the VFACTS data for the early 90s, and the 306 was only brought in, the 306 S16 was on sale in Australia from 94. So for the model years 94, 95, and a few units in 96, then the GTI 6 came out. So we're on our way to Canberra this morning to pick up the car, pay it out, and then drive it back to Melbourne. So stay with me, stay tuned, and let's go pick up a Peugeot S16. On the way to the airport. So it is very cold outside. This winter has seriously been one of the coldest I remember for a long time in Melbourne. Current outside temperature is 1. Subjective feeling is -10. Not according to the weather app, according to me. And it's about 7 a.m. So yes, it's very cold, but from what I've seen in Canberra, it's even colder. So hence the scarf. And yeah, I've got my scarf, I've got my gloves, because we're going into the ACT Valley, apparently. I've never been to Canberra, so this is the first time. Flying on Virgin this morning. I don't know what it was with this particular weekend, but could you believe it, that the cheapest ticket I could get to Canberra channels was about $370 one way with Virgin. Jetstar, the cheapest ticket was $399, and the cheapest with Qantas was $650. That's incredible. I've flown from Melbourne to Singapore and back with Scoot for $500. This is Canberra. It's a 1-hour flight. So anyway, that's my rant this morning about airline tickets and airline prices. Stay tuned for more. Right, so bag has been checked in, and now we're going through security, and then probably have another coffee. I probably need it today. All clear through security, and now we're on our way down to the gate, gate number 9. So bit of a walk, but that's okay. Get my steps up for the morning. Okay, so we're down at gate number 9, and I'm waiting now for the flight to start boarding. Never been to Canberra. I'm actually excited about this whole trip, and not just for getting the 306, but also to experience a new city in Australia that I haven't visited before. So excited about that, but also excited about the whole trip. Yeah, flying up to another part of the country and picking up a modern classic and an old timer by now. I mean, it is a 32-year-old car, so some will call it a modern classic, some will say it is a genuine old timer. Some will say, well, it's not an old timer yet, it's only a 1994 car, but I mean, you can see a Hyundai Excel these days on club permit already, so a 306 S16 is well and truly at least a modern classic by now. But you're probably thinking, if you're watching this from Australia, you're probably thinking, why a 306 and why an S16? So one of the reasons is I like European cars. I like performance hatches, and one of the cars that I haven't had the opportunity to own is the French GTI, essentially. So I've had a number of Golf GTIs. So that's the, let's call it German school. The French equivalent from the 90s at least would be the 306, first the S16, then the GTI 6. I've looked for one for a while. I've been looking for one. I found one just before COVID, and it was in Tasmania. It was also a 94, maybe a 95 in like a dark green color. And it literally sold in front of me. I just wasn't quick enough. Obviously, it didn't help that I was from a different state. So in that sense, since then, I've never really found another one that really that I fancied enough. But this car, being only 2 owners from new, it's done only 100,000 kilometers. It's just ticked over 100,000 kilometers. And it's been with it's the second owner. The current owner has had it since January 25. But before that, it was pretty much owned for 30 years by the original owner, a lady from country Victoria, who, interestingly enough, is a motorbike racer. So I can understand why she was driving a performance hatch as a personal car. Anyway, stay tuned. Hopefully soon we'll be off to Canberra, and then hopefully we will see together the 306 S16 in the flesh. Landed in Canberra and going downstairs to pick up my checked bag, and then I meet the seller outside. I guess he's waiting for me, and we get to see the car finally. Very exciting. It was a good flight, 45 minutes. Yeah, crew was lovely, absolutely lovely. On a Sunday morning, can't expect more. And here she is. We're about 36 k's outside of Canberra, driving towards Yass. And I just stopped so that I can film the car a little bit and show you around. There's a few little spots there on the front that on the black plastic that need to be that have gone a little bit white over time, but that's okay. The car is absolutely mint, I have to say. You know, but you know, it's a 34-year-old car. It's absolutely amazing. It's in amazing condition. The brakes are fantastic, so they're new. Tires are new as well, Bridgestone Potenza, all around. Look how the doors close and open. It's like it's a 3-year-old car. Have a look at the door card. Absolutely like new. Have a look inside. Excuse my water bottle there. And a little man bag. But yeah, back seats. I don't think anyone's ever sat in them. Absolute little beauty. Beautiful plates as well. Pity that obviously because of the transfer to Victoria I won't be able to keep them, but absolutely beautiful plates too. A nice little Peugeot sticker there on the window. Have a look on the driver's side. But no, it's absolutely mint. For a 34-year-old car, I'm very, very, very happy with the purchase. And now I'm jumping back in the car. To be honest, I stopped because I wanted to take my jacket off. It's now warmed up a little bit. It's not the 3 degrees anymore that it was when we landed this morning at 9:40, 9:45. And so I'm setting up my Bluetooth tape that I can put in the tape player, and on we go. A bit of a trip update. So I'm out on the Hume. I just got on the Hume, and the nav says that I have about 5 hours and 50 minutes, so about 6 hours left of driving. Obviously I will have to stop somewhere for some food and a coffee and toilet break and so on. But yeah, so far it's a very smooth drive. It genuinely drives like imagine that it was, I don't know, 96 or 97, and you walked into a Peugeot dealership and you bought a 3 or a 4-year-old one of these. I can't say it drives like new because it's obviously not a brand new car, so there's, you know, but to be honest as well, I can't fault it really. It drives impeccably well. It really drives impeccably well. So I'm about 200 kilometers into the journey. About 138 kilometers from Albury. I stopped at Gundagai Macca's to have something to eat and to put petrol. So I filled up at the Shell there by the highway. Pretty pricey, I got to say, the fuel. What was it, $2.08 for 98? But I chose to go with 98. So you know, it's a long journey. It's going to give Aya a chance to stretch her legs out, but also to clear herself up from, let's say, city driving. And you're wondering, why did I say Aya? Who's Aya? So I've named the car Aya. Why?
because of the rego plate. So it's AYAH, I think. But yeah, I just looked at the plate, and the first thing that came to mind was Aya, so I've named it Aya. Mind you, the Victorian plate it had for 30 years was NVQ, I think, but nevertheless, this one sounds more, I don't know, it fits the car. Anyway, I'm soldering on. Car is performing, touch wood, is performing well. It's a beautiful car to drive. It drives so, it sits so smooth on the road, and the seats are so comfortable. And I got to say, the engine is torquey, so it's got torque, and also it quite short gear ratios, I would say. So the gear ratios are quite close together. You go through the gears pretty quickly. But yeah, let's have a bit of a chat about the S16. So it came out, as the 306 came out in 1993, and here in Australia, the 306 came out in 94, and the S16 was available pretty much from the start. Now, I had a look at VFACTS data, and basically between 94, 95 and 96, approximately 300 of these have been imported into Australia, but in 94 only about 50 or so. So basically, this being a 1994 car, even though I believe it was first registered in 95 in Victoria, being a 94 car, it's it's a one of those 50 imported into Australia in 1994. The car was complianced in September, I believe, if not mistaken. Obviously, I don't have it in front of me now, so I'm going off memory. It was compliant in September, but it was built in June. So it's a very early N3 S16. This is the model that essentially not even Redbook knows the data of this first phase 1 N3 model. So this is a 3-spoke steering wheel, but it doesn't have an airbag. So 95 model and 96 models had an airbag. The 1994 model didn't have an airbag. So from a safety perspective, yeah, obviously it doesn't have an airbag, but this is one of the 50 94 cars that came to Australia. And considering that it's just clocked over 101,000 kilometers, there's actually a lot of ones, 101 and 11 kilometers. Considering that it's genuine 101,000 kilometers, I would dare say that this is probably one of the lowest kilometers S16s available in Australia. Certainly, I would say that in this condition, with these kilometers, extremely hard to rival. The car has 3 keys, so I've got 3 keys with it. Remote central locking, which works. Everything that I've played with on the car at the moment so far, I can see that basically it works. And yeah, what else can I tell you? It has headlight protectors. I haven't seen that. It used to be a thing in the 90s. Do you people remember that? Do you guys remember that? Headlight and bonnet protectors. It used to be a thing. You go into a dealership and you buy a car, and one of the things that you negotiate is floor mats. Car has to come with floor mats, of course. And then you ask for headlight and bonnet protectors. So they used to be a big thing in the 90s and even the early 2000s. So yeah, this one has genuine Peugeot headlamp protectors. Try finding those as accessories somewhere to buy. Yep, that's that from me now, and I'll catch up with you a little bit later. Hello there again. So we're about, I would say 2 hours from home. Yeah, 2 hours, 190 k's. So yeah, I've just passed Benalla, and yeah, another 2 hours to get home. Nothing to report, I guess, which is good. That's good. That's what we want. We want it to be uneventful. Yeah, it's a nice drive. Nice weather today. So currently outside it says that it's 15 degrees, which is good. It was sunny all day. Got up to about 18. It was a cold morning both in Canberra and Melbourne, but it was a very nice day for driving. No fog, no rain. Just, yeah, a nice sunny day. A bit of cloud here and there, but generally it was sunny. So yeah, now it's 4:35 p.m. So being winter, the lights are on. Not that I physically need them. It's more just for other drivers to be able to see me better. So yeah, I'm just approaching the Violet Town sign now, or the exit for Violet Town. So yeah, I've got another 2 hours or so to get to home. What I will do is, just before I get home, I'm going to stop at a petrol station somewhere to give the car a bit of a wash, because obviously the windscreen and the front of the bonnet and the lights, it looks like I went through a massacre because of obviously all the bugs and everything that have ended up on the front of the car and the mirrors. So get that washed off before it bakes itself in. Always after a long journey, it's not bad if you have the time, and if you're willing to give the car a bit of a wash. Easier to wash thereafter. Yeah, so I'll touch base with you a little bit later. Well, here she is. Made it home to Melbourne without skipping a beat. I have to say, I'm in love with this car. It is absolutely amazing, and to think that it's 32 years old, it's wearing its 32 years extremely well. So 1 week ago, pretty much to the hour, I arrived from Canberra with Aya, as I've given her name because of her ACT plate. And the only thing I've done in this week to the car, apart from cleaning it and washing it, although it was already extremely clean, is change the fog light globes. I've just basically updated them to new ones. So I've taken out the old H3s and put in brand new H3s. I actually had them at home from about 5 years ago from a car that I never fitted them to. And for the actual headlights, they're H1s. So H1 for dip beam and H1 for high beam. So the dip beam ones, I've changed them out for new Philips ones. The ones that are like the upgrade to your standard ones. So still ADR compliant and street legal and everything. It's just it gives you about 30 to 50% more light and better vision at night. But yeah, the car is, as you can see, well, I keep saying that it's amazing looking, but I'll let you be the judge of that. Let's have a quick look inside. The doors, like they're closed. Have a look at this. Have a listen. This is how the doors close on a 32-year-old car. Have a look at the back. Nothing to see apart from a very clean boot that I don't think has ever had anything in it. Parcel shelf is intact, clean, and speakers are still there. Oh yes, so what I've done is this speaker here was pretty much done. It was blown. This one wasn't far off.
So I bought a set of Pioneers at Autobarn. They were on special for like $45 a pair. Perfect fit for that size. It's a 16 centimeter diameter. And what I've done is you open up the plastic casing here underneath, you take out the old one, you put the new one in. However, I didn't want to cut any wires, so for $10 extra, I actually purchased the connector cable, which connects to the original wiring of the Peugeot, and then the other end goes into the speakers. So really, I mean, for $10, why would you cut wires like this? The wiring is still original, haven't touched any of it, and yeah, it's still the original wiring as it should be. Unfortunately, after 32 years, the rear speakers have pretty much had it, so speakers are meant to be upgraded and updated when the time comes for that. So I guess nothing out of the ordinary there. So here I'm back in the car. The car is now, because it's been sitting here while I was filming and running, nicely warmed up. As you can see, the oil pressure gauge works fine as well. Excellent oil pressure. So while I was driving the car from Canberra to Melbourne at a speed between 100 and 110 kilometers an hour, the oil pressure was, I may have commented this on the actual trip as well, it was pretty much bang on the middle at about 4 bar, sorry. So yeah, everything here is as it should be. Everything works. Central locking works as well. On the remote. Radio, briefly. Now we'll go for a little ride around the suburb here, and I want to tell you another interesting detail about the car that I knew about this fault when I was purchasing the car, because the previous owner was forthcoming and he told me about it. But I'm going to share with you the details and show you some photos of how I managed to rectify this issue without spending a single dollar pretty much. So while I drive, I will tell you about this. So basically, when I was inquiring on the car, I asked the previous owner if the car had any known faults. I was very much interested in the car, so I was pretty much going to almost buy it regardless. But I wanted to know, are there any faults with the car that I should know about? Because obviously, well, first of all, I need to drive the car 670 k's to Melbourne. So obviously I need to know whether the car will get there. But on the other side is I wanted to know if there are any known faults with the car. And he said to me that there is a bit of a peculiar fault with the car, and that is the cabin fan. So the cabin fan was working, yeah, so it was working. You would turn the fan knob and it would work. The problem is that when you would turn the fan on at any speed, there was no airflow coming out of the vents altogether. So nothing. Regardless of what speed the fan was set to, there was no airflow coming. So I asked him, has he done anything with regards to that? Has he spoken to any mechanic? And he said to me that he has spoken to 2 mechanics, right, in Canberra, and that both mechanics concluded that it must be some sort of flap somewhere underneath the dashboard, broken or something like that, to be causing a restriction
in airflow so that when the fan is on, there is no air coming into the cabin. And I didn't, obviously I was looking at buying the car, so I wasn't, to be honest, taking too much notice of this. But I thought, okay, it's a fault, I will fix it, and that's it. And he said to me that obviously two mechanics pretty much told him this, and that their conclusion was that the dash has to come out entirely to find this fault, whatever it was. And obviously, being a 32-year-old car, do you really want to take out the entire dash? It's old plastic, brittle. Is it going to be able to go back in the same way? Is there going to be squeaks and rattles afterwards? At the moment, there isn't any. So he kind of lived with it. But the problem being was that, yeah, when you put the car all the way to heat, there would be heat in the car eventually. When you put it all the way to cool, there would be fresh air in the car eventually. Same as aircon. Like I've got the aircon now, and it's cold. Yeah, you can feel it being air conditioning rather than just fresh air from the outside. But the fan works, yet the air is going somewhere, but it's not coming through the vents regardless what direction you put the selection on. So I left it at that. I left Canberra, and even though it was a very cold morning, when I left. When I got there. But by the time I'd left Canberra, which was at about 11 a.m., it was already probably a good 15 degrees. So even though the car has tinted windows, which were done back in 96, so by today's standards, they're probably not as good as what you would get today. Some would say maybe better. That's a totally different topic. But I needed air in the car. So the fan is there, turned on, it's working, but it's doing nothing. And I thought to myself, okay, I need to open the window. So I opened the window. But I mean, you're driving 100 kilometers an hour, 110 on the freeway. You really don't want to be driving with an open window. So at one point, I don't know when it was probably about 200 kilometers in, I was sick of opening and closing this window at highway speed. So I turned the fan off. When I turned the fan off, I realized immediately that through the vents, I was getting airflow coming in. So I thought, okay, the system is not blocked, because if I'm getting airflow from driving forward, obviously the system is open. There is air coming from the outside through the vents, and I'm getting good airflow. It's not aided by a fan, but I'm getting good airflow. I switched the selection, the heater control from blue to red, so from cold to hot, and immediately I got warm air, which means there is air circulating over the heater core, which means again the system, the ducts and everything are not blocked. I then turned on the rear circ button, which is a button on this car, believe it or not, it's not a lever. And immediately after about 5 or 10 seconds, the air stopped coming in, which means there is something preventing it from coming from the outside. Logically, I press the recirc button, which means I want cabin air to recirc inside. There's no fan on, which means nothing can be blowing it through the vents. So then I thought to myself, okay, if the system is not blocked and there is good airflow coming in from the outside when the vehicle is moving, there must be something wrong with the fan. So what can be wrong with the fan? Now, slight digression, 2 years ago, in about 2024, the original owner, the lady that owned the car for 30 years, there's a receipt there from a new cabin fan being fitted, and it was fitted by a local franchised mechanic shop in or around the Tarralgon area, so country Victoria. It wasn't an independent, So, but it was one of those franchise mechanic shop brands. So she brought the part, because I can see it from the receipt. She brought the actual part and they installed it. All right, in second gear, let's go. Oh yes. Loves to spin, this engine. Loves to spin. Anyway, back to the fan. So what happened with the fan? So she brought a new fan. Obviously the old fan was dead. She brought in a new fan that she bought online somewhere, I don't know where. And they fitted it, plugged it in, turned it on, clearly it was working. They didn't bother checking that there was no air coming from the vents, and that was the end of it. So I'm wondering if that was particularly one of the reasons that she sold the car, and potentially the reason why this gentleman that sold me the car also sold the car, or decided to sell the car, because driving a car without ventilation, well, first of all, in summer you can have the AC on as much as you want, but if there's no fan moving that air through the cabin, it's going to be a hot cabin, right? And if you equally in winter, okay, in winter it's a little bit different because the airflow, as I said, will get the car hot, but obviously if you have a cabin fan, it's going to be a lot quicker. But also there's the problem of demisting. How are you going to demist your windscreen when there is no fan there to help you do it? So it could be that she was fed up with this problem, and I can already see it. The fan broke, she bought a new one, she had it replaced. The problem hasn't been solved in the sense that she still can't demist her windscreen. She still has, well, no air conditioning essentially in summer, yeah? So this gentleman from Canberra bought it. Now, Canberra has cold winters. Summers are hot everywhere now, and probably in Canberra as well, probably not in Melbourne or Sydney or Brisbane. As in other cities in Australia, yeah, in Mildura it gets a lot hotter than it does in Melbourne, for example. But, so this could be a reason why both these people sold the car previously. So I thought to myself, if the fan is working and there's no air going into the cabin, and on the other side there is good airflow when the fan is off, the fan is the problem. And immediately I thought, the fan is spinning in the wrong direction. Now I took the fan out this morning, and you will see photos of this. The fan is clearly of unknown brand origin. So it's an unknown brand. It's probably one of those that you buy on AliExpress or eBay, like a generic brand. That anyway, I took the fan out. You can only plug it in one way. So the jack that goes into the fan has 3 wires. One of the wires is the black wire, which is the earth. One is the red wire, which is the positive. And then you've got like a blue-red wire, which is the speed control for the fan. Now, I thought to myself, what if, obviously the wiring is okay, but somehow this fan is spinning in reverse, in reverse. It's not spinning in the right direction. So what I did was, I saw that inside the actual fan, I can see 2 wires going into the motor. So basically what I did was I pulled the motor apart, and these 2 wires, which were plugged into the motor, I took them out and I spun them around. So where the red wire was, it was now the opposite wire. I think it was like brown. And where the brown wire was, I put the red wire. Assembled everything all up together, fitted it back into the holder where it goes, plugged it in, and turned the fan on. and we got fantastic. This is on full blast, so it sounds like it's about to take off to the moon. So yeah, when it's on full blast, it sounds like it's going to take off and, you know, launch itself into outer space. But on, I think this is, well, let's count. So this is off. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so 4 out of 5 is loud for a fan. Excellent airflow through the vents, and more than enough airflow to, you know, cool the cabin down or to heat it up. And of course, when you turn the controls, you know, to the windscreen, guess what? You're getting air at your windscreen where you're supposed to. So there you go, problem solved. How did I solve the problem? Let's say a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of forum Googling or forum research, a little bit of Googling, a little bit of ChatGPT. But what mostly helped me was prior knowledge, in the sense that back about 4 years ago, when I was restoring an Alfa Romeo 75, I changed the radiator on that Alfa, and in changing the radiator, I'll turn this fan off so that you can hear me. I took out the radiator. I had to take out the fan. Now on the Alfa, or at least on that Alfa 75, the wiring for the fan was just 2 wires. They didn't have like a jack that could only go in one way, and so on. So I didn't take a photo of what it looked like before I took it out. I accidentally wired the fan the wrong way, and then for about a week I was chasing the issue of why is my car trying to overheat when it's got a brand new radiator, brand new water pump, brand new, the fan wasn't brand new, but everything is wired properly. Well, it turns out it wasn't. I switched the polarity of the fan, and it was spinning in the wrong direction. Instead of sucking air in from the outside, it was pushing air in. It was pushing air out towards the front of the car. So clearly that wasn't working. So that's what prompted me to think: is this fan potentially spinning in the wrong direction? And it turns out it was. It was actually wired from the factory incorrectly. So they could have pulled the dashboard out. They could have searched for a broken flap. They wouldn't have found one, because the problem wasn't in any flap. The problem was in a fan motor, or in a fan that was simply spinning in the wrong direction. And why was it spinning in the wrong direction? Because when it was built in the factory where it was built, probably cheaply, they didn't take too much care of what they were doing, and they simply put 2 wires in, wired it all up, tested it. Yep, it works. Boxed, and off it went. And unfortunately, that issue has potentially, I don't know that those were the issues why these people decided to get rid of their cars, but potentially it could have been an issue, because let me tell you, like I said before, if I had a car that wasn't demisting the cabin properly or at all, or that it had issues with simply not being able to cool the cabin whatsoever, I would have seriously considered whether I keep the car or not. You can barely see me now because it's almost completely dark. Thank you very much for sticking around with me on this adventure. This won't be a full-time thing, Daniel going around Australia and buying project cars and driving them back home to Melbourne. Sometimes I do like a good project. I'm always entertained by rescuing and resurrecting old, predominantly European cars, but I'm not brand biased. So yeah, stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching this. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like, share and subscribe button, and all the best, and I'll see you again in another video. All the best. Thank you.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face, tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.